This is Countdown to the Grey Cup with Bill Kelly, delivered by Purolator on the Ticats Audio Network.
And welcome to Countdown to the Grey Cup, delivered by Purolator. I'm your host, Bill Kelly. Getting very excited as we get closer to Grey Cup here in Hamilton, with a lot of the excitement about the entertainment. Now, we already know, of course, about Carrie Underwood. We know the Green Day is going to be there for the halftime show. But the first time we talked to our guest here today, there were still some holes to be filled on this. I think he knew what it was all along, but he just wasn't letting on to us. But he is now. Joining us is Gerry Fonzo. Gerry, of course, is the VP for Stadium Events and Operations for the Hamilton Sports Group. And Gerry, the one section of all this entertainment that we were talking about was what's going to be happening on the CFL Awards night, which in itself is kind of unique because it's going to be in Niagara Falls at the Fallsview Casino. Now, that much you did tell us. Been there 1,000 times, and it's a fabulous facility. But now you've got the entertainment lined up. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, for sure, Bill. Thanks for having me on here. When it comes to the CFL Awards, obviously the goal is always to make it bigger, better. Mm-hmm. You know, how do we elevate this event? And I think this year we made a conscious effort, obviously bringing music into the whole festival as a whole, but having it and taking advantage of the facilities in Niagara Falls. And in Niagara Falls, they have OLG Stage, which is just down the hall from the Avalon. So super excited to bring in Shaggy. We announced that last night that Shaggy will be the headliner for that event at OLG Stage. So there's kind of a two combo here where if you purchase tickets to the awards, you actually have ticket to the Shaggy concert as well. So those that are the award goers, they'll be able to get their ticket for the awards. Then right after that, basically 4-minute walk down the street, down the hall where you pop into OLG Stage and enjoy a nice Shaggy concert. And then those that are interested in just buying Shaggy tickets can do that as well through Ticketmaster.ca.
Now, the tickets, of course, for the awards ceremony are available, of course, at Ticketmaster. Saturday, we're actually recording this on a Friday, but on Saturday, that's when the just Shaggy tickets, if people don't want to go to the awards ceremony or haven't got time or whatever, they can get them beginning this weekend, right?
That is correct, yes. So if you purchase your awards ticket, you get your Shaggy ticket chosen now. But yes, tomorrow, Saturday at 11 a.m. is the general public on sale for the Shaggy concert. And you can visit, Ticketmaster.ca.
That's just incredible. What a lineup we've got going for this whole week. We've talked with Tim Podesick about the stuff that's going to be going on around the city of Hamilton right through the week with some of the stadiums or some of the street shows and kind of a mega version of the stuff that Tim's been doing so far for many, many years here. Then we've got the awards show, and then we've got Carrie Underwood. We've got Green Day coming up at halftime, and now Shaggy for the CFL Awards ceremony. And by the way, Kate Beirness, a good friend from TSN, is going to be the MC for that event. But also, yes. If you want a laugh or two, not that Kate can't tell jokes herself, but Trevor Wilson is going to be as part of this event too.
That's right.
Of course, we know him from Letterkenny. He's a Squirrely Dan on Letterkenny.
Yes.
But if you watch the Just for Laughs shows, I mean, first of all, he was an award winner of Just for Laughs.
He's hilarious. Yeah.
He's been on Jimmy Kimmel. And you can see him on Just for Laughs a whole lot of times, so that's a real bonus too. It's like you're getting 3 and 4 for 1 here when you get this kind of entertainment.
That's right. So I think, we kind of mentioned right off the top, it really is all about elevating this, and the awards is a special event when it comes to the hosting the Grey Cup. So for us, again, making it bigger, making it better. You bring in a comedian, most teams would say, "Yep, that's enough." Where for us, again, how do you raise it to the next level? You bring in Shaggy as well. So now, as a fan goer, it can't be, there's nothing better than that. You're a CFL fan, you're flying in or you're in the area, you're checking out your awards, you're going to see some great athletes win some win some awards. And then from there, you're right, you have the comedian portion of this and you have the OLG Stage.
We should mention as well, and maybe remind people too, about the shuttle service that's going to be going on. Now, people are going to say, it's Niagara Falls. I don't want to have to drive back and forth.
Yeah, no, very, very good point. Good reminder. Yeah, so Bill, anyone staying, so for those that are traveling, obviously for the most part are coming into Hamilton for the Grey Cup, they don't have to worry about transportation to get down there. We have our regional shuttle program that is bringing everyone from downtown Hamilton to Niagara Falls, right to the Fallsview Casino. And that actually runs Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for anyone who wants to just even visit Niagara. So you could do that, and if you want to stay there overnight as well, great. That's as well on our website at greycupfestival.ca. So amazing shuttle program, which is great.
And I know some cynics are going to say, yeah, well, what's that going to cost me? Come on, Gerry. Nothing.
Exactly. Zero. Nothing. Free.
Just get on the bus, Gus.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Thank you very much. Exactly. So made it easy for our fans that they can get down there and enjoy the awards and not have to worry about the travel.
And This goes back to the thing you talked about before about partnerships, and the province of Ontario, of course, is on board with that. And my understanding is they're the ones that are kind of sponsoring this part of it, the transportation part of it. We should also mention, we keep talking about the ceremony itself, Gerry, the awards ceremony, that is. It's going to be at Fallsview Casino. You don't have to stay at Fallsview. It's a fabulous hotel, and we have stayed there, and it's wonderful. But there's a lot of great hotels in Niagara Falls, and so you got your pick there. So, if you want to go to any one of the other hotels, that's fine too. The shuttle will get you there. But if you say, hey, well, I'm going to stay at, pick one, Hilton or whatever, okay, so that's fine.
We're working with all of them, so it's actually great. With our relationship with Niagara Falls Tourism, we put together and worked out all the hotels that are in the Niagara Falls district or the downtown district. Basically, it's a great setup. If you go to the website, they've kind of put together a whole program. Some of them providing better offers than others or complimentary breakfast. But yes, exactly. You could stay down on the falls for a great offer, a great deal, and make it easy on your travels. And like I said, we have the shuttle program is rolling. It's almost every 2 hours there's a shuttle that you can jump on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday and Sunday.
And this is a really cool idea. I found this out 2 years ago when the game was in Hamilton the last time, and talking to some of the media folks that were down here to cover the game. And for many of them, this is the only time they get down to Southern Ontario. If you're from British Columbia or Saskatchewan, whatever the case might be, you don't get down here that often, and they want to see the other stuff. Hey, I'm this close to Niagara Falls. I want to go see what's going on in Niagara Falls.
That's right.
And you guys have thought ahead. It's like, you're going to have a lot of free time when you're down here, whether you're just as a tourist or if you're a working media type. And you've got a couple hours, you got a free afternoon or evening, take the shuttle, go and check out Niagara Falls, go check out some of the other stuff that's down there. So this is a whole tourism package that you guys have put together.
Right, Bill, and you kind of mentioned it. We have a lot of fans that travel in, and this is their vacation. They come down to the Grey Cup for a 4 or 5 day session, and I think opening this up, we've had so many people already signing up for the transportation program. People that have went out obviously online and purchased hotels, and they're going down there, and it might be just checking out Niagara Falls for the Saturday, and then they'll head back here for all the team parties and some of the other festivities. Right, so we have a lot of fans that are not only staying in Hamilton but also staying in Niagara Falls.
Well, it's a great and a very exciting time for us, and I guess we pretty much filled out the bill now with all the entertainment that's going to be there. In case you did miss the announcement, Shaggy is going to be the entertainment, and it's right after the awards ceremony itself. As you mentioned, Gerry, just walk down the hall, and you can go see Shaggy, and of course, as well, Trevor Wilson, the comedian from Letterkenny. Fabulous stuff. Thanks so much for popping on. I know you're very busy these days, but to give us the latest update on what's going on. And once again, if they want to get tickets, Ticketmaster.ca is the best place to go.
Correct. And if they're looking for any other information, obviously our website at greycupfestival.ca has everything you need.
You betcha. Gerry, well, thanks so much for this. Gerry Fonzo, of course, VP of Stadium Events and Operations for the Hamilton Sports Group. We'll see you at all these events. Thanks again, Gerry.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Glad you guys are with us here. As you talked about teammates, I just mentioned Kate Beirness from TSN is going to be there. One of her teammates on the panel is also an incredible football player, former football player, and we're going to talk with him in just a second.
That was a bad example, and now he's throwing it away. It's the 9th interception of the year for Davis Sanchez, and he could score. He will.
So he can stop the clock quicker, get it out of bounds, but the incompletion does that.
Dans sa droite, capté par Claremont, et Claremont.
6 joueurs intenses.
Duran passe haute, et c'est une passe incomplète pour Jerome Walker. Davis Sanchez en cours.
Et là, les deux sautent. Et regarde Grant qui est là, les deux numéros 2, et je pensais lorsqu'il avait... Anyway, they're 3 down football.
Beirness lance le ballon. Il est intercepté.
Et quel jeu de la part de Davis Sanchez.
Today, but he'll have it by the time we're done. Sanchez, the interception, and still going. Davis Sanchez, what a great move. No trespassing.
Hey, glad to have you with us today on Countdown to the Grey Cup, delivered by Purolator. I'm your host, Bill Kelly. And this is the part of the show that we talk about past Grey Cups with some of the greats of the Canadian Football League. And, the guy beside me right here fits that to a T. He's the friendly face, of course, the good, handsome guy that you see on TSN all the time during football broadcasts. He's part of the panel with the CFL on TSN and CTV. And, of course, on Sundays, he doesn't even get a day off on Sunday. He's doing the NFL on CTV and TSN. And, of course, he's got TSN Edge going on at the same time. He, of course, is. Davis, so great to have you on the program. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here.
As we head towards the Grey Cup in Hamilton here, in just a couple of weeks now. I want to look back on some of the greats and some of the pros and some of the experiences that you played. You came into the league, of course, right out of the draft. You were drafted by the Montreal Alouettes. 9 interceptions in 2000. You got the Lou Heyman Trophy as the top Canadian. I mean, you came in with a blast, didn't you, on top of this league?
Well, I came in on a really good team, that's for sure. The Montreal drafted me. Unfortunately, that was the Anthony Calvillo and Mike Pringle and Ben Cahoon and all those greats. So I was fortunate to be on a pretty good team, and we had a good run for a long time, including a lot of visits to the Grey Cup. Some of them early on, not a lot of success, and that's why finally when we won it was that much sweeter.
Yeah, I still maintain that was one of the best teams in CFL history on a cumulative basis. I mean, you had AC, and you were beasts on defense too. AC and the Kahuna guys like that, and Green, they get a lot of the headlines, of course, because they're the ones crossing the goal line. But you guys were a terror to play against.
Yeah, we were good. I mean, and the late Don Matthews in 2003 and 2004, and then, of course, it moved on to Mark Trestman. But
yeah,
we were loaded, and as you can imagine, in those years in Montreal, in that city, we had a lot of fun. I wouldn't trade those times. I remember getting drafted and hearing my name in Montreal and thinking, oh, no, I'm a West Coast kid from Vancouver, never been, I don't think I'd been to the East Coast at that time, much less French speaking all the way out in Quebec, and I was kind of disappointed that I got drafted there until I got there. And what an amazing city and people, and like I said, we had a big party for a good 7-8 years. We had a big party in summer in Montreal on the hill at McGill Stadium, so it was great times, no doubt.
That's one of the hidden stories, I think, of Canadian football, the city of Montreal. People that look at it historically say that's a franchise that's had some financial trouble, some lousy ownership at different times. The move from the O over to McGill, and you figure, well, this is a team that's really in financial straits. How can it survive? But once you got there, I guess you came to realize Montreal is a football-crazy city, isn't it?
Yeah, the stuff, any conversation about instability or a franchise having troubles. I didn't witness any of that. I had great ownership from the day I got there. It was Robert Wetenhall.
Mm-hmm.
Treated first class, top to bottom. Like I said, from the day I got there, I was there 8 years, and it was. I think we sold out every game. We had everything we needed, and he treated us great. So yeah, my only experience was a great one, and it seems as though it's kind of coming back. It's things are from the business side as well. But what a party in that city when you're winning! I can tell you that. We don't have time for those stories, but I can tell you the summers in Montreal. I had a chance to play down south and in San Diego and at Oregon, another big program, and the city of Montreal. After those games and those nights, those other places don't compare.
Having said all that, you won your first Grey Cup as an Edmonton Eskimo back in 2005. And let's talk a little bit about that. I know you got injured and couldn't play in the game itself, which you guys eventually won, of course. But that was a hell of a season. And you guys, that 2005 team was kind of a sentimental favorite. I mean, here in Hamilton, we weren't doing that well as a franchise. But you had a bunch of Ticats on that team, former Ticats, people like Troy Davis, Joe Montford, Joe the Monster Montford, and Tim Fleiser, and a bunch of guys like that. It was a team that really kind of came together as the season went on, didn't it?
Yeah, I have an asterisk beside that Grey Cup for me. Like you said, I didn't play in that Grey Cup. I was injured early in the season, and a big part of that was a great team, or at least they made a great run.
Yeah,
Moss. And
Ricky Ray,
kind of taking turns there. We had a kind of a two-headed monster at quarterback. When Ricky struggled, Jason was going in and ended up winning us a couple games, and then Ricky, closing out in the Grey Cup. But for me, a big part of Grey Cup and winning championships is what you build. as you build it as a team and the things you go through are what makes things so sweet. I wasn't a part of any of that there because that was my first year there as a free agent. I signed there, got injured, partway through the season and never came back. So I gave that ring to my father, and I'm sure he walks around telling people he's a football player and enjoys it. It's cool to be a part of it. I'm happy for the city of Edmonton to win another one. But for me personally, I don't really have much emotional attachment.
No, but the emotional attachment, I guess, came a few years later in 2009. You're back with the Alouettes by then. 15-3 record. You guys were just unstoppable that particular year. The defense led the league in turnovers, 63 turnovers. That's just by your defense alone. So, I mean, you guys set AC and the offense up an awful lot of the time with those turnovers. That was a remarkable team, though, offensively and defensively, wasn't it?
What year?
2009.
Oh yeah, No, that was a special group because Mark Trestman came in, I believe, in 2008.
Yeah.
That group was all together, same group, and we lost to Calgary in the Grey Cup, which I think we had a chance to win that game in Montreal, and 55,000 people, and they beat us and brought that same group back again, and yeah, Mark Trestman was and is a great coach and kind of maybe what we needed to get over it because we played the Grey Cup in 05, 06, 08, lost all of those. Montreal did, and then finally in 09 got over the hump. But yeah, special group because as you say, a bunch of those guys that the Cahoons and the Chews and the Calvillos and myself and Willie Loftus, a bunch of us have been around a long time. Had a lot of pain and agony in Grey Cups and not a lot of success. So to get that one was big.
Talk to me about Mark Trestman, if you could. His record in Montreal speaks for itself, of course. When the Argos were having some problems a few years ago, they bring Trestman back to coach again. He'd been out of the league for a few years, and bingo, they win the Grey Cup. I mean, some coaches just seem to have a knack for bringing a team together. Was he one of those guys?
Just complete luck. He's just a lucky guy. One of the smartest working guys I've ever been around. One thing about Coach Trestman, I played for a lot of great coaches, and one of the things that always was different with Mark was he was so methodical and well prepared in everything he did, and it was, as a player, you knew it. I mean, he would come into a meeting. He never wasted your time. He would always have the 3 bullet points. Here's what's important for today, day one, and this week. And some of the stuff that he would come up with, he had, it was obvious and evident that he had thought about it, weeks before, a month before. He understood where we needed to be as a team and kind of ramp us up to where we need to get to. And he was just a special coach in that regard. You knew when you came in for each week that he was well thought out, well planned, prepared. And I think as, for players, we'd be letting him down if we didn't kind of get to the same place he was. So I think that changed. We had a lot of the same players as the years before, but having him just, such a well prepared guy, and I think he was what we needed.
I want to talk about your play, and the numbers speak for themselves. 155 games in the league, 330 tackles, 2 quarterback sacks. That must have been sweet. But 28 interceptions, too. Now, I've talked to other guys in your position. Adrian Smith was on the program just a couple of weeks ago, and it was great reminiscing with him about some of those days. But he figures, and a lot of other people figure, that playing cornerback in the Canadian Football League is one of the most difficult positions to play in sports. I mean, the quarterback itself, Americans who come up here have a huge adjustment to make. But that's a lot of field, Davis, to try to cover as a cornerback.
Yeah. I always say that halfback in the CFL might be other than the quarterback, might be the toughest job in the world, and corner's probably right there behind it. But yeah, it's not a lot of love and conversation from guys like myself in broadcast unless we're getting beat. So yeah, it's look, it's kind of you're made, if you're a corner, it's kind of how you're built. I think most corners are guys that have been corners most of their life, and it's kind of a mentality. But I love it. It fits my personality great, and I can't catch, so I got tiny. Can't catch, so I didn't have an option. I got great quick feet and no hands, so it was just an automatic fit to go out there in the corner, and plus I'm all out there by myself, which is people want me to be, because it gets me out of everyone else's hair and not bothering anybody else, and I can do my own thing. So it works out on the field. My wife also has me playing corner at the house, meaning get out the way of everyone else and don't.
Well, that's the whole thing. That's the challenge, though. I mean, I know that you love the challenge, but you're a man alone out there. You don't get much help at all, and you're usually playing against the other team's best receiver. So I mean, this is intense right through the game, and there's some pretty damn good receivers that you played against over those years.
Yeah, look, one of the mentality for me is always, and this I think I tell young guys that I coach whenever I'm around them, this: if you get beat, I always say try to laugh. You know, if that helps you take the pressure off, and think like this: that's one for you. I got to get one back. And that's the mentality you have to have. That's fine. You get one. Now it's my turn to get one, because you're really, as a corner, you're gonna get beat. And I never, it didn't happen very often. But when I did get beat, my mindset was like, okay, good. Next time you come back at me, I'm going to get it. And I think that's just, and I would say it. If you beat me again, the third time, best believe I'm gonna get it. And now the fourth and fifth time, I had to explain to my coach, the sixth time, I promise you I'm going to get it. But that's just the mentality you kind of got to have.
Well, Pee Wee Smith told us that, too. We were talking about the 96 Grey Cup. That was that snow game with Edmonton, and Toronto played at Hamilton. And he got beat on that touchdown, that incredible catch went off the guy's knee, and he caught it again. And the same idea. He says, I'm going to get it back. Well, he had the pick six that won the game for them just a few minutes after that. So it's just, okay, next guy up. I mean, you're looking forward, not back when you're playing that position.
Pee Wee was a heck of a player.
Yeah. Again, I know so many guys in this league, and I've talked to so many guys that have played in this league that never get to the Grey Cup. And you were so fortunate to do it so many times. And then, of course, the last one was 2011. You got your release from Montreal. You went back home, essentially, to BC and played with another great Canadian Football League coach, Wally Buono. That was a team that had a pretty decent season. I think you were 11-7 that year, but again got hot in the playoffs, and that had to be sweet in 2011 to win it for that team, for Travis Lulay and so many other great players on that team. And you played a little safety and cornerback that year, didn't you?
Yeah, that's. I played 2 games of safety. People always will throw that in there that I played safety. I played 13 years of pro football and 2 games of safety, so I wouldn't really. I was 36 years old and reaching the end. It was special to get a chance to play at home. I grew up a BC Lions fan. I grew up a huge CFL fan, so I used to go over and watch BC Lions practices in Surrey. I watched it. I gravitated. I didn't even play football as a young kid. I didn't play football until I was 16 years old. Mm. I gravitated towards watching defensive backs even when I used to go over there as a young kid, probably just because they had swagger and were cocky and cool, and I just kind of enjoyed watching. It was Darnell Clash and what was my guy's name? Oh gosh. Anyway, but Darnell Clash was one of them for sure. I think Larry Crawford was probably around then. But anyway, I just gravitated towards those guys, but yeah, it was cool to be at home and win a Grey Cup in my hometown as a kid growing up. I was at the 84-85 Grey Cup parade with my uncle and as a 10-year-old, and so it was cool to get back and be at home. And my mom and family was able to watch a ton of games and be there through the whole thing. So that was special from a family standpoint more than a football deal.
But as a Canadian kid growing up and a fan of the CFL, Mike, I guess you could throw Mark Washington's name in there too, another great DB that played for the Lions. What's it mean when you finally make it to the big game? And you're in a situation like this. You've won 3 of them. It had to be a real rush for you. And I know you're on the panel now. I still see you when you're playing at Tim Horton Field. You and Dunnigan and the 3 guys. You'll come walking around. You want to get down by the benches, and there's an environment there that I guess you never really want to get rid of, do you? It's in your blood.
Absolutely, yeah. Being down, that's one of the best things, and we always, preach and beg Paul Graham, our boss, to get us down to on site as much as possible for Milton, Matt, and Caden and the crew, Jim, because we want to be there. We want to be around the players, and we want to be down on the field, because that's you get that energy. It's just something that those guys who have been out of it for just recently, like Lapo and Jim, and those guys have kind of been around it, but we've been out of the game for 10 years. So to be back around is a cool thing, and also for studying purposes, you get a chance to kind of really see guys up close that you might not have otherwise. You see it a different way. You learn things about them. I always have a little recorder with me, and I kind of take notes on just kind of not the X's and O's stuff that I can see here on my film, but more just the mannerisms, the conversations, things like that I see. But getting a chance to play in the Grey Cup and it's a special deal, and I think I had, like you said, success early. I was there early, so I didn't realize how it's a 9-team league, so it's not like an NBA or a Major League Baseball where it's harder to get there, but it's still, some guys, like you said, go years without ever winning a Grey Cup, and look at my partner and my guy Milt Stegall, one of the greatest and the greatest receiver of all time, and he never got a championship, and that's so you appreciate it for sure, and once you get one, then you have that, and it'll be forever.
You're an astute businessman too, though, not just a football player. I mean, you're very analytical and you're very intelligent. You're a smart football player, but you got in on the ground floor with TSN Edge. The legalization of betting in this league, and it's taken off. It's more successful than anybody ever thought it could be, and they knew it was going to be successful. But you were there on the cutting edge with Edge, and it's going really well for you. It's something that you could really be proud of.
Yeah, thank you. It's a passion for sure, and I think what it has. It's brought an influx of revenue, eyeballs, interest into sport. Now, there's going to be detractors who don't want to hear sports or gambling advertisements every half and every quarter and every commercial, and I get it. It's going to be the same thing as beer commercials and cigarette commercials back in the day, but it's I think in the sports business right now, there's definitely a need to help eyeballs and subscription, and whether it's television rights or whatever it is, and just to get the younger demo involved and interest. And I think that's fantasy football and sports betting is part of that. As long as everybody can do it in moderation and have fun with it, I think it's just a different dynamic. It's here to stay. That's the reality is.
Yeah.
It's here to stay. So embrace it. Find your niche with it, or leave it alone, and who cares? But it's here to stay, and it's I enjoy it. I have a passion. I did it before I was involved. I love fantasy football and betting. So again, I'm a cornerback. I'm a gambler. I believe in myself, and it's back to the if I lose once, lose twice, I know I can win the third time. So it's we have a lot of fun. It is a true passion for me.
It would be crazy to try to get into the playoff situation here as we're having our discussion here today. We're into the last week of the regular season. I know an awful lot of people, especially here in the East, are really just kind of handing the Argos the Jeff Russell Trophy and just say, okay, they're going to win the Grey Cup hands down. I mean, they've had a tremendous year. Chad Kelly's been great. But I got to tell you, Davis, I remember the Tiger Cats in 2019 when Dane Evans came along, and they just had a great momentum, rolled through the playoffs, got to the Grey Cup, were heavy favorites, and Winnipeg just beat the daylights out of them in Calgary that afternoon. You got to play the game. As good as your regular season record is, you got to play the game, and you got to go in there with the proper headspace, don't you?
Again, football's like no other, right? It's a one game, one block punt, one pick six, and the tables are turned, the tide is turned, and so there's no handing the trophy to Toronto. Are they the favorite? And probably the biggest favorite in the East we've seen for a while.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's a lot of that's to do with the quarterback situations in Montreal and in Hamilton, more importantly in Hamilton. Yeah, like you said, I wouldn't hand them the trophy. I mean, I think they'll be in tough. Hamilton especially, depending on both my teams, but they have some vet. Hamilton has some good vet players. They have, whether it's if it is Bo, which I don't know who it will be, but he's won. He's been in big games. He's a guy who can, if he gets hot, he could be, you know what he can do. And then you have other guys who are athletic and Schultz and Powell and guys who can make plays. So it's I wouldn't hand it to anybody right now, but Toronto was definitely the favorite. And
they're the defending champions, of course, too, and looking like it. The one thing, I just can't write Winnipeg off. I mean, the way that Collaros has played, I know they've had a couple of games where they should have won and didn't this year. But Mike O'Shea's got that magic touch as a coach, too. The players just love the guy, and they find a way to win. They're going to be tough in the playoffs.
Foundation. They've built that, and they have the culture, and because of that, they can draw from that when they need to. If there's one team you could pick right now entering this playoffs, Bill, knowing what Toronto's done, but knowing the history of what Toronto's doing, but knowing the history of Winnipeg, who do you take?
I like I say, I like what's going on here. I think the coaching Dinwiddie's done a great job with the Argos, but as the former players and the guys that are on the team right now tell, there's something about O'Shea and that coaching staff. And they look to Collaros and they say that it's like that line in the Super Bowl. When New England came back after getting their butts kicked by Atlanta, won the second half. Who was it on the bench? One of the Patriots, the running Blunt, I think. He says, "Okay, we're going to win because we got Tom Brady." Well, I think on the Winnipeg bench they're going to say, "We got Zach Collaros." All right, and that's our ace. Okay, maybe it's not going to go our way every play, but we got Zach Collaros, and then when you got Zach, you got a chance.
I agree with you, 100%.
Davis, a great pleasure having you on the program today. Thank you so much. I know we'll see you in Hamilton during Grey Cup week. You guys will be around, of course, and for the big game itself, too, and look forward to catching up with you then. But thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it, Bill.
Take care. Davis Sanchez, one of the greats, of course, of the Canadian Football League, and you can see him, of course, on TSN. Well, that's it for this edition of Countdown to the Grey Cup. For the latest info about the 2023 Grey Cup Festival, just go to greycupfestival.ca and watch for the next edition of Countdown to the Grey Cup. I'm Bill Kelly. We'll see you next time on the Ticat Audio Network.